Welcome to the first episode of Sips with the Surreal.
Hi, I'm Jenna.
I'm Danielle.
And I'm Dina.
Welcome, everybody.
We are a book club podcast where we're just like three friends who want to talk about the books that we love, right? Basically.
Yeah, we're pretty obsessed with each other, and we
And the
like
books we
reading
read.
and talking about our books.
Yeah, that sums it up. So we were like, hey, why not put this on a podcast platform and deep dive into fan theories that we're always sending each other reels about anyway and constantly messaging each other
Yeah.
when
See
we're
if you
supposed to
guys
be
have-
working.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
This is our alternative work that makes us actually happy.
This is way more fun.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Dina,
Okay, today,
No,
where are we going to go into how
How we
No.
became friends. Okay. So Jenna and Danielle, we are sisters. So we became friends at my birth. But Dina was not blessed with being born near us. We met her later in life. Actually,
too
we've
late.
only met her in person 2 times, believe it or not. But we fell in love with her via podcast world when we started our Did Not Need to Know podcast. And her husband is in a podcast called Formidable Opponents. Dina does the artwork for that.
Creative
And-
Little Pill. Go follow her.
Yes, she's awesome. And she does our podcast art.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the worlds aligned, Texas and Pennsylvania. And even though I vowed never to go to Texas, I will go there again for Dina.
Yay!
Just kidding.
And
She's
I'll go
coming
to,
up here.
I'll go to Pennsylvania.
And now we're obsessed and we're friends through long distance. And that's fine.
I was describing Dina the other day to Mom, and I was like, she's just like one of those like unicorn people that you're just like, how is someone this nice?
real.
And Mom was like, well, when you find someone like that, you have to hold on to them, and you have to make sure they're your friend.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So there you go.
She is. She's like, I don't think you ever talk shit about people. You're like super nice.
Oh, you'll have to get to know me then a little bit more.
Only people that deserve it.
No, I do talk shit. Yeah,
Yes,
I do.
I've heard it, and
There's
it's
been a couple times.
definitely people who deserve it only,
Good
which is
job.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Dina, do you want to tell everybody what we're discussing today?
Sure. So today we're discussing A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Moss.
Mass or Moss? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I've heard people say Moss. I've heard people say Mass. It's a double A.
I say Mass.
Also,
but
I've heard people say Akatar and Akotar. So
I don't know why a Kotar makes me have like a visceral reaction. I don't like it.
I
You're just
say,
silly.
oh, no, I don't even know.
I say Akatar.
Yeah.
I say Akatar because you say it all the time. So I just started saying it because I'm your little sister.
I mean, I could see why it's the other way too. Echo. Whatever.
A
Anyway.
court.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
Pecan, same thing.
Tomato, tomato.
You know what? When we came
Pecan,
home,
pecan.
I started asking people, is it pecan or pecan? And it's definitely a Northeast thing.
I was thinking about that the other day when I was in line at Starbucks, and my new favorite drink is the pecan crunch. I say pecan. And I was listening to a guy behind me order it, and he also said pecan. So
It's
I do
'cause
think
it's
it's
a
a Northeast
Northeast
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say southern, northern, got
Well,
it.
I mean, it just makes sense. Can. C-A-N. Can. I don't know. It's an accent. It's probably just your accent, like how you say Whataburger. What did she say?
Whataburger.
It sounds like water.
It's Whataburger.
But it's
Waterburger.
definitely the word what. it's Whataburger.
Not in Texas.
What? It's like, what a burger.
Well, when
Yes.
you guys first said it, and I was like, Waterburger, what a weird name, water. And then I went to Texas and I saw the sign. I was like, it's Whataburger. Oh, yeah, you guys are weird.
Yeah.
But we love you.
But we love you. So,
I love you all.
in addition to us talking about our favorite books and it being a book club podcast, we're also honoring the surreal. So, in honor of the surreal, what are we sipping today? Me and Danielle are sipping Spring Court Spritz, which is basically an Aperol Spritz. And Dina, what are you sipping?
So it would be technically Amarin's blood, but not her blood, just the blood that she drinks.
Yes, her blood wine.
Yes. I wanted to clarify that.
That is
Yeah,
good
blood wine.
clarification.
That's very good. But in reality, it's red wine.
It's Cabernet, yeah.
Love a Cabernet.
Love a good cab.
Love a good Cabernet.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's dive in
here.
All right, go, baby.
All right, so we're going to just start with the summary. For anybody who is interested in reading this, we will talk about the whole book, so spoiler, but here is the summary. So says Goodreads, right?
This is from Goodreads.
Quoting Goodreads.
Straight off of Goodreads, babe.
All right. When 19-year-old huntress Feyre kills a wolf in the woods, a terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows about only from legends, Feyre discovers that her captor is not truly a beast, but one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled her world. At least he's not a beast all the time. As she adapts to her new home, her feelings for the Fae male Tamlin transform from icy hostility into a fiery passion that burns through every lie she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of Fae. But something is not right in the fairylands. An ancient wicked shadow is growing, and Feyre must find a way to stop it or doom Tamlin and his world forever.
Forever.
That was all right?
No, that was great.
Oh, okay,
you did a
cool.
great job. It just made me think of Sandlot. Whenever I hear the word forever.
Forever. What did he end up doing? Anything?
Squints?
Yeah,
In real
Squints.
life? Mm-hmm. I don't know. But he, in the movie, he married the hottie Peppercorn. What's her?
Wendy Peppercorn.
Wendy Peppercorn.
Was it really Peppercorn?
Yeah.
What a dumb name.
Oh, really? I think it's like iconic.
Peppercorn?
It goes with the movie.
I
just think
understand.
It fits
It's
perfectly.
just like not a hot girl name. Like Wendy. I think of Wendy from.
Well, we got to think of it's like supposed to be the 50s or something, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good-
50s or 60s.
Wendy's
Wendy's probably a hot girl name, but Peppercorn.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be spicy.
I think it was
those
supposed to be like
peppercorns.
silly. Because she was very pretty, but.
All right.
All right, anyway.
Okay.
All right.
So we're going to go into the highlights here because we're assuming everybody who's out there listening has read this book. I mean, it's taken
It's
over the world.
very viral. I mean,
It's
that's why
taken over
we're
the
picking
world.
it.
It's taken over the world.
When I first heard about it, one of my girlfriends told me about it. Shout out Rachel. And then I told Jenna about it, and I was like, I got to read this series. And we had another friend, Megan, who's all about
Read
fae,
it
fantasy
a while
books.
before
And
us.
Jenna and I were never into this kind of reading, but now it's
I
like,
was such a hater on fantasy books.
I know.
And now look at me.
and my
I'm
one
so deep.
girlfriend talks about
You're
how
our-
it's
our
just
leader.
right. She is our cult leader because Jenna took off. She just booked it and read all the books without us, and then
It took me like a whirlwind or hurricane or tornado, whatever you want to call it, a tsunami. It just swept me. She was like, our friend was trying to get me to read this one first, and I was like, this fucking sounds like Beauty and the Beast. I'm not reading this shit. And then I read Fourth Wing, and I was like, well, that was amazing. Let me try. And then, you know what it was? Audible had it free to listen to that month. Like it was a
they did.
It was
'cause
a
then
promotion.
I listened to it too for free.
It was a promotion, and I got all of the Audible book, the graphic audio books, which really did it for free. And I was like, oh no, I love this. And then it's been all over ever since. Now I'm so into Fae, and
I will say it did make the graphic audio made the first book more enjoyable because, as we'll say later, it's very slow to start
it is slow, yes.
in comparison to other books. But
And I am one of those toxic Audible listeners.
she is so
Well, what are you going to say?
like you're just like a Audible junkie.
Oh, well, I'm a total junkie. But what I was going to say is I listen to it at like, if they're talking too slow, like I don't need the dramatic pauses. I'm listening to that at like 1.2, sometimes even 1.5.
I did that, and you were
Yeah.
like, "Why is it so fast?" And now all of a
Because
sudden you like 1.2.
Because you were
Don't be shaming my 1.2.
You were skipping over the best parts of Rasand.
Absolutely not. Never. Ever.
I think she did. Dina.
No.
I think
False.
she
Oh,
did.
no.
False. False.
At 1.2 though?
I listened on
I don't feel like that's that fast.
Thank you.
One
It probably is as fast
You
as
were
Dina
one-
reads.
you
Dina
were-
is like the fastest reader. She's like a 1.7 reader.
I know. She's a 2.0.
Oh, thanks. She's a 10.
1.2 is my preferred speed. You were listening to it at 1.5. And I was
Never 1.5.
You were. And I was like,
Never.
Roseanne's speaking too quickly.
She is saying nothing but lies. But anyway, this book is more than just fairy porn. It is the gateway into a wonderful land.
It is. Literally.
Well said.
Literally. Let's cross over that like, it's not like a real wall. It's like a force field, right?
Yeah.
The wall that
Really? Is that
separates.
what you-
So I think.
I thought it was a wall, a real wall.
I thought it was a literal wall.
Literally.
Then I was reading something in this and doing research for this episode. I was reading that the wall between the human world and Prithian, because you can't see it. The humans at least can't see it. Remember, they have to just like keep like putting their hands
Damn it, that's
to
true.
find all the
But the
imaginary
Fae can
hole.
see it.
The Fae can see
Yeah.
it.
So it is a wall first.
I think it's like, and the reason why like everybody felt it is because like the vibrations of the force field, you know.
Yeah.
So it's an actual wall that the fairies put up, but the humans
like a
aren't
force
able to
field wall.
see it because they're humans. They're ordinary.
Yes, that's why.
Which is how because they were looking for holes, right? But they
Yeah.
had to, Oh, that makes more sense.
and the Fae can see the
it's
holes.
half and half.
That's how they go in. The bad Fae go in and like hunt humans and whatever the fuck that they do. Okay, so let's just like start
to the
at, like,
beginning.
hot topics to talk about here. We got
Yeah.
Papa.
What do we
Papa
think of the Archeron family?
Yeah. Papa Archeron. Oh, I would have crippled because he was like made bad investments. He's basically useless.
Did he even like his wife? Like, they talk about Mama Feyre and Mama Archeron, whatever, and it's just like nothing ever is happy about her.
Okay, but I wanted to talk about this. They don't
Okay.
have names. Why did she not? Why did they don't have
They
names?
don't have a name.
Mama and Papa don't
It's
have
a
names.
little bit annoying.
Father.
And like
So
I
is
was
father.
looking through comments. I was looking through comments, and somebody made a good point. Like, would you be interested in a backstory or like a prequel that involved Mama and Papa Archeron?
I would do.
I wouldn't.
I would only because of some of the theories that are out there,
Oh,
which I think we're going to talk about later.
yes. If they dive into
The Nesta stuff.
who Mama is, yeah. And so I like wrote about this a little bit, and I know it's like one of our like deep dives, but like the birth order and how Sarah J. Maas made the character. So like it's Nessa's the oldest, then Elaine is the middle child, and
Feyre's the
I always
youngest.
thought Elaine was the youngest because she's so coddled
Same.
and babied by
She
the
acts like
two
that.
other sisters.
But in the beginning, Feyre talks about how she's the youngest all the time, and she's the one who has to go out and hunt. She's the youngest. Why is she the one who has to do all this stuff? No one's
Well, she
helping her
doesn't
learn how
really-
to read.
Feyre doesn't really complain. It's
She
just
talks
like
about it.
She does it. But like I just feel like is Sarah J. Maas an only sibling and she doesn't understand like birth order psychology? Because like
Maybe.
Nesta doesn't follow in the typical like psychology of birth order. None of them do really.
You don't think? Okay.
Nesta, listen, other than Nesta being a bitch,
Yeah, she's
oldest child.
Okay, but
bitch.
yeah, she's not an overprotective big
You're
sister.
the oldest old child, right,
Right.
Dina?
Right, so she's not an overprotective
Dina
big
doesn't
sister,
follow.
mama bear,
Okay.
sister
Right.
bitch.
Yeah. So the oldest child usually is like the overachiever, the leader, the maternal one of the
Yeah, she
of
has
the
no maternal.
siblings.
But is that because of? And that's where I would like to find out about
Her
Mama Archeron.
Yeah.
Like what? Not that I like Nesta at all. Spoiler for later books. Well, this book too. You see that she's a bitch.
She sucks.
She sucks in this book a lot too.
And I have a different opinion, but okay.
But actually, this
Can't
book
believe
shows
it.
less of her bitchy side because.
Does
Yeah.
it?
Do we have to? Can I jump?
Yeah,
or that's too
jump.
much
We're
jumping.
jumping, baby.
So yeah, we're all over the place already. Like when she goes back after she's left Tamlin, and then she tells Nesta about everything. Nesta and her kind of bond a little bit.
They do. And that's where I felt like, okay, maybe like I know that Jenna at this point was already like, no, Nesta's a total bitch, da, 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 but I was like, I like her.
Jenna doesn't
And
go back.
She actually
doesn't go back to love anyone.
Once you're on my shit
She
list, that's
actually
pretty
went-
much it.
But she actually went to go look for Farah. Like she went
That
to
one
the
she
wall.
did, you're right.
And that was the part
Which was
where
surprising.
I was like, oh, maybe I like this character. Like, and why didn't the glamour work on Nesta?
Exactly.
So when
exactly.
when she kills the wolf, Feyre kills the wolf, and Tamlin comes in his beast form and says, makes up that lie that says
About the
there's
dad.
rules that say that
treaty.
the treaty says I either have to kill you, you come live with me forever. Like very, and he glamored the family to think that Feyre's with a sick aunt taking care of him. The glamour didn't work on Nesta.
She never believed the
Why?
story that father's ships returned and that all that stuff. She was like, no, he's still an asshole who
Yeah.
let us sleep in one giant disgusting bed together.
Yes. All right, so we'll get into
Which also
those theories a little.
is another thing.
We'll get into that theory a little bit
Lots to
later.
talk about.
So
this
much.
book does have a lot.
All right. So
Not even the spiciest of books.
do we talk about Calumet at all? Do we talk about the first appearance of the most beautiful male that Feyre's ever laid eyes on?
Of course.
Okay.
Why
I
wouldn't we?
think Calumet sounds gross.
Oh, definitely.
Who came up with this? That basically the High Lords of the land go into some sort of feral manic state where they need to basically have sex with somebody,
Like right there
any
and-
maiden, to restore magic to the land so
Right.
spring will happen.
That sounds like a
bullshit
male's
to me.
Sounds
Yes.
like a male's rule.
What the hell I love you, Sarah J. Maas. That is the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Her brain is like so crazy but so good that she can make up all this intricate stuff in these
Yeah.
worlds. Like just the maps
Yeah.
alone. I'm just
Oh,
what?
yeah. Detailed. Uh-huh.
But I love how Lucian's like, maybe stay away from Tamlin.
He's not himself tonight.
He may have sex with you and he won't
remember.
He won't remember and it
won't be
might be
him, yeah.
beastly. And like, you're like, what?
Which, yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so I mean, I don't feel like did she really ever go back to that? Like all the High Lords are supposed to participate, but do they all do like Tamlin's part?
yeah.
No, but we shouldn't talk about that. It's a different book.
We can touch real quick, basically saying how Tamlin's a little old school and he's like the only one that still participates in
Oh,
it.
that's true. Okay.
We won't
right.
say
just
who
kind of like
said
some of the other
that.
things that he does. Yes. Got it.
But
Remember now.
when Feyre sneaks out, to go to Calumet, which looks, the fires and the fire pits and the flowers.
Right.
and-
The sound of it
looks
is very
beautiful.
nice.
Looks lovely.
Yeah.
What a
Except the
lovely
ritual.
What a lovely place to have group sex with a bunch of random
Prithian
strangers.
sounds beautiful. And,
Very
you know,
wine.
all that stuff sounds so nice until you meet people and you're like, oh, no.
Yeah, Feyre stumbles across like 3 like
Rapists.
rapist fairies, and then in comes the most beautiful male that she's ever seen. And
Who delivers the best line of the book?
But also, spoiler, if you haven't read other books in the series, you don't know why that's the best line.
he says,
I know.
"There you are. I've been looking for you." And at this time in book 1, we're saying like, oh, he's just like
helping
acting
her
like
out.
he
Looking
knows
for her.
her to get her away from these 3 very terrible people who have bad intentions for her. And then that's basically the end of Calumet for her. She goes back to the manor after that, has a little run-in with Tam Tam. He bites her on the he bites her on the neck.
Yeah, he does.
He seems to rein in, and after that, I guess maybe he had sex with somebody else and like
Didn't he?
Did we
He said, because
say?
he said, I was looking
He
for
did
you all
complete
night.
it.
You hid for me on purpose. He was like flipping out at her.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
whatever this magic of Calumet is, it makes them into like maniac feral creatures that aren't normally like
See,
like
I
that.
don't understand like why she was attracted.
gross.
Like, why did I think he was a good mate for her in the beginning?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk about
Can
that.
we go into that?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because
okay,
we, for a while,
you thought he was.
for a while, I'm
Dina?
like, I like Tamlin.
I never
So-
really. I was like, I don't like this main guy really that much. I don't feel the chemistry.
I don't know if I was already like spoiled or like it was spoiled for me because I knew that people out there had read it and didn't like Tamlin. I didn't know why. Like I didn't have all the details or anything. So I don't know if it was already kind of ruined because of that, but I did not like their chemistry at all. I felt like it was very red flags.
I thought she was like kind of forcing it a little. Like, all right, I'm here. He's my captor, but he's not so bad. And then she was like, all right, might as well make the best of it. And I do kind of like him. He's hot, blah, blah. Maybe I could help him.
So
Right. And given her background too.
Yeah. So I read this before I realized that there was fan art and a whole book talk or bookstagram world. So I didn't have any spoilers about this series. So I was just like, well, he seems kind of lame. And I don't really see the appeal.
What are some of the nicknames from Tampon?
Tampon. Oh, God. That's the best one.
Tam.
Tam.
What was the other one?
I don't know.
Oh, there was another
He
good
really
one.
does suck.
He does.
All right. So moving on from Calumet, right? They're like having feelings for each other, whatever. They make out in like what that starlight pool, right? Don't they make out in a pool?
Yes.
Like not a real pool,
Yeah.
but like
That's where she like starts falling for him or whatever.
yeah.
He kisses her too to see and like I don't know, doesn't remove the glamour, but he like puts on this glamour or something like that where
to really
she can
let
see
his
better.
power shine
Yes.
through.
Yes.
Did we mention anything about the masks? And
No.
Lucian, we didn't say anything yet.
So yeah, at this time in Prithian, everybody's cursed with these masks they can't take off. And Tamlin's is what is it? A lion?
Yeah.
Is it a
Right?
lion?
That's a good question.
I know Lucian is a fox.
Yeah.
He's our
Now,
It's
when you
supposed to
guys
be in honor
envisioned
of
these,
Tamlin.
did you envision like, how did you envision it over their face? Like, because it's
I
like
thought it was
adheres
just
to
over
like,
like their like
Yeah.
nose,
Like a
eyes,
masquerade.
situation.
yeah, like that,
Yeah.
right? Nothing
That way they
like
could
all
eat.
over their cheeks
Yeah.
or anything, right?
Yeah.
Because like you could,
No.
because she said she could still pretty
Make
much
out
see
his
what he kind of
face.
looked like, and he was handsome.
I'm sure
Right.
he was lovely.
I mean, Fae
Just
are
not our
beautiful
kinda
in
lovely.
general, right? Aren't
Yeah.
they supposed to be beautiful?
What
Yeah.
did we think of when we learn of the most beautiful male's name, Rysand, when he comes into Tamlin's mansion and they're all like terrified and they hide her in like this invisible shield? What were your first thoughts on Rysand? Because he's like, they're looking at him as the enemy coming in who's, canoodling with this evil creature woman, Amarantha. So he's perceived at this point as being bad.
You're right, he was
They're
the bad
hiding
guy.
her. What were your initial thoughts of him here, Dina?
I, at that point, was trying to remember because now that I know so much about him, it's hard to kind of think back.
I know.
to when I
separate it.
I didn't feel like I did about Tamlin. Like I was intrigued, I guess. That was it. Like, who is this guy? Who is this character? I think there's more to him. I don't know what it is. And I kind of hope that I like it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Like originally it was like, oh, he's kind of like a dick bully kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then I remember texting Jen and I was like, wait a second. Rysand's not that bad, right? He's not a bad guy. And Jen was like, keep reading.
Yeah, that's all I'll ever say.
That's all she'll say.
I remember thinking to myself, I wonder if I have a problem because why do I like Rysand? I was like, what does this say about me? I was like,
Yeah.
maybe Sarah is gonna. My friend Steph calls her Sarah Janet when we're mad at her. Like, Sarah Janet, because what does the
For the
J
J?
stand for? So she's just like, Sarah Janet, what are you doing to us? Like, Sarah Janet, maybe she has like, bigger things planned for Rysand. And yeah, obviously she did.
Obviously, he was like the center of her whole thought process.
Spoiler, did you guys know that she modeled Rysand after her husband that she has a very loving marriage with?
I think I did hear that.
Excuse me?
Oh, no. Have you seen a picture of her Rysand?
No, I have not. Is he good looking?
He's a cutie.
Modeled after him in the sense of looks or personality? Or both?
Maybe, you know what? He is a very dark-haired man.
Oh.
But I believe
Interesting.
personality and like their love relationship.
Aw.
I know.
That's so sweet.
So sweet, but also like,
But she's
ugh.
also supposed to be like Nesta.
Yeah.
So she's Nesta and
Oh.
he's Rysand. Interesting.
How does that work?
Well, I think she was Nesta in Silver Flames. She put a lot of herself
Right,
into
right.
Silver Flames Nesta, not necessarily this Nesta.
No, but I mean, they're all one and the same.
I'm
But I mean, Nesta
the
Silver
author
Flames
has
is
a-
angrier, spoiler, for many other reasons that she should be angry for. But
Not that angry. Get over it, bitch.
I mean, big spoiler. If I was turned into a fae without my consent,
that's fine.
I'd be really pissed.
No, that's fine. You still don't. We're getting really off. You still don't have the right to treat people that way.
No, I mean,
Anyway.
she's a bitch. We get it. She's a real big bitch.
Anyway.
Amarantha.
I feel like this will be a poll for later.
This is definitely a poll.
We haven't
for
really
later.
talked about Amarantha, and she's like the center bad guy.
Okay.
Oh
so
yeah, she's
here
the
we go.
problem.
So like, there's a blight.
Blythe?
There's a curse on Prithian.
Blythe?
There's something bad happening, right? As Danielle said from the Goodreads thing, there's like a dark shadow. And we learned that it's Amarantha, this evil queen. This evil fae who basically made herself High Fae queen of all of Prithian instead of the 7 courts, right? There's 7. There's spring, autumn,
Winter,
night, day, summer, dawn. Yes. So there's 7 high lords.
And 7's a magical number. That makes sense.
Her and the king of Highburn, who wants to kill all of the humans, were like, let's take over. These high lords don't want to be mean to the humans. We're going to take over. She puts a curse on all of the high lords, takes their magic. He gets mad at Tam Tam because Tam Tam won't marry her or even have sex with her.
Be with her.
Be with her in any way.
She's
So
bitter, scorned.
and he goes, I won't even, I'd rather be with a human than you. She's like, oh yeah? Well, then everybody has a mask on their face until you get a human to fall in love with you. And so that's basically the curse. What's the 7 times 7 years? So he has 7 times 7 years to get a human to fall in love with him. A human that hates Faye to fall in love with him. 7 times 7. What's that about?
Isn't that the 49 years?
I know it's 49
Yeah,
years.
but why did she say it like that?
Why?
Didn't she
Because
just say
that's like what
49
old
years?
timey people say. It's like,
I know
makes it
people used to
scarier.
say like, what they used to say, 6 and 10 years from when you're 16.
it was like, the wording of the numbers were always like,
I guess. I think she wanted to highlight that magical number 7.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
it was
I can
like,
see that.
can't you? I mean, not that I want.
It's not as cool to say
do
49
70
years. Why 49?
Yeah.
Not 50.
Not that we want
Yeah.
them to be cursed for an extra year, but like.
No, it's
Right.
dumb to say 49 years.
So basically, Feyre comes into the scene when it's the magical 49 year.
Now, do you think Amaranth is beautiful? Even
So
though she's so friggin' evil.
I always pictured her as
like an evil queen.
the girl
with like,
from who in Game of Thrones, the redheaded. What the hell is her name?
Oh,
she married Joe Jonas.
The Red
Oh.
Witch?
What? Who?
You talking about the Red
Sansa.
Witch?
Sansa Stark
Oh,
from Game of
Sansa.
Thrones.
Oh.
So I always pictured Amarantha as that.
Oh,
I
like
can kinda
her,
see that.
really?
Yeah. What did you picture her as? I'm gonna get a
Isn't she not married to Joe Jonas anymore?
no.
Look.
They are not. What's her real name?
Sophie
Turner. Yes. That's what I
It's
saw.
the red hair, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And
She's
that-
kind of
I feel
got like evilish look in her eyes sometimes.
Nope. I could totally, there we go.
There you go.
There we go.
I could totally see her as a little like
If
evilly.
they make this
That
into a
picture,
movie.
too. Yeah.
She's my fan cast for Amarantha. So
Or Isla Fisher.
she's too sweet of a face.
She could
And
play.
isn't it Isla Fisher?
Is it Isla?
Oh gosh. Pecan.
Whatever. Borat's
Pecan.
wife.
Borat's wife. I think they're divorced now too.
No. Really?
Yes, they are.
See, everybody's breaking up, baby. Okay, so
Anyway.
Feyre just learns from her like maid Alice all
Yeah,
this
Alice.
nonsense
Alice.
because like
And Alice's twin nephews, twin
all right,
sons.
take it easy
Okay, sorry.
about that. So she goes to Under the Mountain, which we couldn't come up with a better name. Like the Sacred Mountain, she like made Rasanne's night court into this evil place under the mountain. But that's all anyone
I know,
ever
it's kind of
refers
annoying
to.
to keep saying under the
called
mountain, under the mountain.
On the
You're
mountain,
like,
under the
I'm going
mountain.
under the mountain.
Remember when we were under the mountain? Remember that
UTM.
time during Under the Mountain? Like, it's very dramatic. So she goes there. She fights. She's like, "Oh, my Tam Tam, let him be. Break the curse.
Can you imagine knowing someone for not that long and then literally fighting to the death
for
to
them?
save him and his people when you were grown up to like hate Faye? And now all of a sudden you just love him so much. You're abandoning all human.
And his first compliment to you is, "I like your hair," or "Your hair
you
looks
don't look
nice."
that bad, right?
Yes,
Like,
didn't he
what?
say that? He was like, "You don't look that bad for a human." Like,
Did they say
Like,
something about
okay.
the way she smelled too? Like, you smell okay. Like it's something stupid.
"Geez, girl, like have your standards a little bit higher." Okay,
Maybe she was just
yourself.
really starved for attention. She had a really shit home life.
we have a
Yes.
bullet point to go over a little
Okay.
bit later. Okay, so Amarantha gives her this curse, this riddle, and that'll solve the curse, break the curse. And that riddle is, which I feel so stupid. I did not know it. I did not realize it.
I guessed it right away. Oh my god!
That's because Dina's smarter than us.
No.
For real,
Like,
she
what
was.
the- I was like, what the fuck is
Where's
that?
the riddle? You have it
It's
right
right
here?
there.
Oh, okay.
There are those who seek me a lifetime, but never we meet, and those I kiss, but who trample me beneath ungrateful feet. At time I seem to favor the clever and the fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare. By large, my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet, but scorned I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strikes lands a powerful blow, when I kill, I do it slow.
See, the last part didn't scream love.
Maybe
to
that's
me.
what it was. That like
For me, it was the first line. I was like, "Oh, it's love. It's love. It's love."
I must have been
You're so
overthinking.
cute.
You're.
I was overthinking
I think
it too,
I was
probably.
way overthinking it. So Feyre can't read, so she's definitely not going to get this riddle.
Oh.
She's not
No.
book smart.
Poor Feyre. She's not book smart. She's not literally
Literally.
literary.
Yeah, it ain't there for her. So because she can't solve it, Amarantha's like, "You bitch, you're gonna go through these 3 trials, and they're gonna be awful."
Do you think, honestly, if she had guessed it right away, she wouldn't have gone through the trials?
No, because like spoiler, what happens like later? She
Yeah.
goes back on it.
Yeah.
She's like,
Just kidding, gonna kill
I
you
didn't say
anyway.
when.
So the first trial is the Midgard worm, which I've seen fan art of it, and it looks terrifying.
yeah, super scary.
It's like a giant.
I would have stopped
earthworm.
right there. Tam, I'll see you on the other side of the wall. For real.
Yeah. Sorry.
Good luck, Tam
I'll
Tam.
be back there.
Look, yeah.
Good luck, Tam Tam. Catch
Like,
me when
what
this is all
made
over.
her think that she, I mean, good job for defeating it, but like, what made her think she
She's
could
like,
do that?
you know what? I'm a damn good archer. I got this.
I killed Tam's friend in the woods. Oh, we didn't even mention that in the very beginning. That's how this happened, but whatever.
Oh, the wolf. Yeah. No, I did say that. The wolf disguised as a fae.
Oh, you did say that?
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. So yeah, the Midgard worm, she like has to do this like mazy thing, and she's throwing bones at it and making a pit of like spiky bones, and because it can't see, right? It can't see.
It can't
but it
see.
can smell
It just
her.
goes off a smell.
So she like tricked it to like impale itself.
And all these fays, everything in this world has very high sense of smell. Like their
Oh,
sense
yeah.
of smell is so heightened.
Yeah. I'm like, oh God.
The scent of everything is
It was just
everywhere.
like- it brought me back to the book. This horrible book I was reading. Anyway,
comment.
it just I had a little trauma response to that.
Ruh-roh.
Oh god. Anyway, okay, so she defeats it, but she's like injured, right? So I feel like it's important that we talk about Rasan then, because if she didn't get healed, because
Well-
Amarantha didn't give a shit, she would have she had a fever, she would have
Yeah, but
died of
Lucian
infection.
healed her first.
But remember, she was like thinking, I'll hold out for Lucian, but Lucian never came, and Rasan
But
came.
Lucian was coming to see her before this trial.
He healed
Right.
her the first time.
First time.
Before, but then after this, Rasan comes and heals her arm. But he's like, "Listen, like we're
Strike up a deal here.
We're making a
Makes a bargain.
I don't do anything for free.
We're doing a bonded bargain here, babe." And she gets like the swirly tattoo that if I was so bold, I would totally get that tattoo.
Oh, I know, right? I kind of wanted to draw it I have like
Can you
this
draw
vision in my
Do it,
head.
Dina.
I want to. I should try, right?
We
I
should at
try.
least get it just in
I've been
henna
really
one
into like
time.
drawing.
The three of us should get it as a
Oh,
henna
that would
tattoo.
be cool.
So dorky. I love it. I don't like the eyeball on the palm, though. That creeps me out.
Oh, I think that's cool.
Well, she likes
I
scary
have it in my
stuff.
head. Looks
It's like
cool.
looking at her.
Dina
I do.
likes scary stuff, so.
And
Like-
it's your sand.
I know, but it's just like, don't look.
Like, what weird things do
Will
you do
close
with
your
that
palm
hand
when
throughout
you're
the day?
doing?
What happens when you're like washing yourself? It's like his
He's
eyeball.
okay with that.
Like,
He's okay with that.
oh, you're right. He is okay with that. Okay, so he heals her, but they like the deal is like she has to visit his court 1 week a month. Which I'm gonna twist my arm, handsome guy. Sure, that sounds terrible.
Right?
Okay, so what's the next? The next trial is what? Oh, the second trial is the pit. The pit. Lucian's in a fence. There's like levers.
We haven't mentioned Lucian enough. I honestly, can I just say,
Yeah,
I really liked Lucian
I like
in
Lucian
the first book.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though he was, and we didn't mention her, Lucian deceiving her in the woods, though. We didn't talk about that.
I was just gonna say, the whole like name of our podcast here, we completely skipped over.
We really did
You're right.
skip the
Well,
story.
someone told me I needed to shorten the summary. Danielle,
This is not the summary. What you had was not a summary. It was
it
Cliff
a summary.
Notes, pretty much. Like, not you copied it from Cliff Notes,
Fine.
but I'm saying it was
Talk
a Cliff
about
Notes
our
version.
beloved cereal.
All right, go ahead, Dina.
Dina, explain who the cereal is. The name of our
Okay.
podcast.
So they tell her about these, different types of fays that are out there, like fairy creatures or whatever.
Lesser
and this one
fairies.
is lesser fairies, right? And one of them is the Cereal, who, if you catch them, they'll tell you the truth or anything that you want to know, any answers to your questions. So apparently it's super hard to catch them. And so she goes, I think it was to Lucian, or was it Alice?
Yeah.
It was Lucian, right? And she asks him how to catch it. And so he gives her like these instructions on how to do it. So she goes out there and
Doesn't she like give it a
lo and
piece of like
behold,
fancy clothes or something? Does
and
she
a
bring like a
chicken.
cloak? Yeah.
yeah, there's like a chicken, and yeah, there's a few things that
he,
she
like,
has to bring.
Toads
Cereal's
thought
like,
she
oh,
was not
shit,
going to
look at
make
this,
it.
like satin cloth. Thank you.
Like he was joking, right? I mean, that wasn't.
He seemed like he was
He
tricking
didn't
her.
need that.
100% tricking
Which
her.
is kind of.
Like the
don't
cereal
know.
was like, yeah, cool, thanks.
But I think the
I'll
whole
take it.
thing was like the cereals are hard to catch. I don't think he thought
She would ever
catch it.
No.
But maybe how he told her to catch it was accurate. He just didn't think she could do it.
So that alone told us right there that she was special if she had these like
She could
abilities
catch
to
it. Yeah.
survive in
Right.
that world.
I did think Lucian had more of a personality than Tamlin. I was like, shit, can't she get with Lucian?
I know.
Because he was like jokey and like had more of a personality, where Tamlin was just like this like stoic wet blanket, like always
Yeah.
like grumpy.
He was very bitter.
so grumpy.
But then you're like, is he bitter because of everything that's going on with Amarantha? I was kind of playing devil's advocate.
I guess.
I mean, if I had a mask on for 7 and 7 years,
7 times
7 times 7 years,
What happens when you have an itch?
I was just going to
7,
say,
yeah.
imagine the chafing under that mask.
Ooh. It's like a cast.
Yeah.
Oof. Ouch. No. Okay. So yes, there's the Cereal. There's lots of like mythical creatures. There's the Bog, the Naga, right?
Right.
The water wraith. Right, because there's also that
The Adder.
the adder that's the scariest one for me besides the mitten
adder.
garden worm thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So
And so here we
the
are,
second
Lucian
trial,
in the pit.
Amarantha tied up Lucian. Now, in order she has to solve this riddle that's now on the wall with these fucking levers. And if she pulls the wrong lever, then Lucian gets spiked with like these wall spikes, and then they'll both die. So now it's just not like her life on the line, and it's Lucian's. So when she goes to like go pull the wrong lever, her like little like eyeball tattoo from Reese starts to tingling, and she's like, "Uh oh, he's helping me out here." So then she goes to another one. He's like, "Not tingle." So she's like, "Okay, great," and she pulls that, and it's solved. Whatever.
Which is funny because we go to learn that he doesn't care for the spring cord very much at all. So it was
Rasan
nice that
does
he
not
was
care,
like
yeah.
helping her, who was eventually helping Lucian in the Spring Court. But
True.
see, he is the best person ever because despite his hatred for them, he still helped.
Yes.
He still helps.
And we were talking about this a little bit, how like Tamlin, her like beloved, basically isn't speaking to her, isn't looking at her. He's sitting there like a little mute baby boy.
Little bitch baby.
His bestie Lucian has been stepping up and doing things. Rasanne's doing things. Why isn't he even speaking to her? He won't even look her in the eye. Like
he doesn't acknowledge her.
No.
Are you that prideful that like this is happening and a woman has to save you?
That's why, well, not even that. I thought that at this point I'm thinking like, you're just with her to break this curse. So you don't care to see her and comfort her during all this to heal her because you're just hoping this bitch better fucking break this curse.
But like, even if like he like was like locked away and couldn't sneak away, like wouldn't you like when she's during these trials, like shout things to her, like to like encourage her, say something,
make eye contact,
like try to speak through your eyes. If like she has a gag on you, I don't know if she's like magical gag on him or something that was never said, but like, I just was like so disappointed in him. I was like, I don't understand why he's not saying or doing anything. So,
and that's because he told her that he loved her right before he dropped her back off. Like
that felt manipulative. And it felt manipulative. It felt like
he was using her.
Okay, go see your family real quick, but like I love you, just so you know.
I come back,
and you. And I shouldn't
say it to me.
Thank you.
All right. So then we go to the third trial, which is the saddest one, where she has to kill 3 innocent fairies by stabbing them in the heart. She doesn't want to, obviously, but it's the only way she thinks, to free the people of Prythian. So like all the fairies have like hoods on, and they have to unhood themselves one by one, and she's forced to like stab them, and she's like sobbing. When she gets to the third one pulls his hood off, and it's Tamlin. So she's like, oh shit, she's panicking. Then she like thinks back to all these random conversations where people are like joking, oh, Tamlin, you know, if you didn't have a heart of stone, blah, 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 realizing that it's not just a figure of speech.
Which, like, what a guess.
I know, like, you know, maybe his heart is stone. So boom,
maybe that's why he was not going to her. His heart was literally stone.
That's a good.
Like he literally can't love.
Yeah, he can't love.
Maybe. So yeah,
which is another reason why Amarantha made that curse. Like, I mean, you would want to reciprocate, right? And then he couldn't even do that.
No,
like, how do you find someone to fall in love with you?
Yeah.
Okay, if Tam ever gets a redemption story, maybe his side would be like, my emotions were stifled because she made my heart into stone. Maybe he would give us a little bit more insight. Maybe he gives us a little bit more insight.
I mean, because spoiler, he was very, very sad later on.
And the curse is what gave him the heart of stone, right? Like he didn't have that before.
Correct.
When she was like, she cursed all the High Lords first, and then she was like, hey, come to my party where I'm celebrating how I defeated you all. And she's like, hey, Tam, you want to marry me? And he's like, no, I'd rather marry a human. She's like, mass for everyone. And you have a heart of stone now.
Right.
So, okay. So she plunges the thing into Tamlin's chest. Basically, like, breaks, solves the last, trial, completes the last trial, which should have been like, everybody's like, okay, hey, she did it. Like, break the curse now. Amarantha's like, yeah, curse breaker, woohoo. And Amarantha's like, just kidding. I'm going back on my word, and starts like breaking every one of Feyre's bones, which is horrible. And then as she's like dying, it's like describing her like guttural death rattle breathing. She says she realizes the riddle thing is love. And so the curse is broken. She's pissed. She snaps Feyre's neck, which is terrible.
Right. Like, what did you think when she snapped her neck?
I was like, no, there's no way she could kill her. Like
you can't kill the main character.
Sarah Janet, you better not kill the girl.
Sarah Janet, what were you thinking?
Because you're just like, she's the main character, and then you're like, oh wait, she's talking. what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I had to read it a couple times.
Yeah. Cause like she becomes this like sentient being where she's like looking down on her dead body, and Tamlin, who immediately stabs, finally does something and stabs
That
Amarantha.
was instant. He did do that pretty instantly. Like, that was pretty good.
But did he do it for her or did he do it for himself?
He was like, I have my powers back. Woohoo. Stab Amarantha in the heart.
That's a good point. Do you think he did it for Feyre or for him?
I don't know. So yeah, he's cradling her. Feyre hears someone screaming her name. Hint, hint, that's not Tamlin. Devastated, blood-curdling scream. Tamlin's so upset. And then each of the 7 High Lords, as thanks for Feyre for being the curse breaker, they give her like a little droplet of her power, which saves her life, but also makes her High Fae. So now she has come back. High Fae. Like, what do they call her? Maid. She's now Maid.
She's Maid.
Mm-hmm. Maid, which is such a weird thing to say.
Well, she was made by...
True.
Capital M.
True. Okay, so all happiness, flowers, roses, butterflies. They go back to the Spring Court Manor. Feyre's happy. She's with Tamlin. The curse is broken, but she's like so depressed over killing these like fairies.
No, I mean, I would be too.
No, I totally get it. Then Rhysand shows up and he's like, just kidding. Don't forget about like our
Here's
bargain.
our week, yeah.
Like, I won't call it in right now, but like, see you soon. And he goes to do his like really swirly, like black cloud magic. And he locks eyes with her and like, he like has a shocked face and stumbles back. And she's like, what the fuck? And then he like quickly disappears. Like, I know I was like, what the hell did he, I was like, oh, he got like a premonition of the future and saw like something crazy is going to happen. I didn't even go where it does go.
How could we go? There was no inclination to that.
Maybe if I was more of a fantasy book expert at that point. I was very much a fantasy book virgin. So I didn't know all of the tropes of like.
You think if you were to...
Yeah, because
read a bunch of fantasy before,
because
you would have pinned it.
Yes,
yeah. Because now when I read these books, I'm like, oh, fated mates. I'm like, fated mates, baby.
Really, Dino? Though you would have pegged Rhysand as.
So I read the whole Throne of Glass series. So I remember texting Jenna throughout, like, hey, is it the same in all the books here? Because I'm reading this and this is giving me these vibes. And she's like, I don't know, keep reading.
That's her line.
She's like, but like, who's her mate? Like, which one is going to be her mate?
This happens. Like, where are they?
She's like, I remember you specifically saying, like, I really love this idea of mates, and I really want this to happen in this book. Like,
all right, don't tell me too much, because I'm like, the last 50 pages of Throne of Glass.
I know. I saw when you were putting the kids to bed, I was like, ooh, she's like almost at the end of Throne of Glass, and I peeked, and then
They're at the duel.
I read a couple of pages. Yeah, like, she's about to, like, do her last fight, and Dorian's, like, so upset and reflecting on it. I'm like, Dorian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wrong book for tonight.
Sorry.
Also Sarah J. Maas, though.
Yes, but out of all the Sarah J. Maas books, Throne of Glass will always be my OJ.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So yeah.
Oh, and wait, we forgot the Rhysand shows up and she thanks
I just said that.
Okay, wait. Did we finish this part?
I did, baby.
Okay.
I did.
All right, yeah, okay.
So let's deep dive into the things we didn't hit as we tangent all over the place. I think I read too much into things and thought that Sarah J. Maas was giving us little like clues with the whole like Rhysand's constantly picking lint.
You said that, and I don't know if I agree with this lint.
No, now that I've read all of the Maas first books, like all of her 16 books, she just really hates lint. All of her characters are constantly picking lint off of their clothes.
Well, they're also always wearing black. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Everything's visible.
I was like, oh my God, he's like forced to like be Amarantha's, and I hate this term, but they use it in the book. Amarantha's whore is what they call
he does
Rhysand.
say that all the time, yeah.
And he like feels unclean and he's picking lint off. I was like, poor Rhysand. But I think she just hates lint and everybody's just
if he was that
picking lint.
traumatized, he wouldn't be having like phenomenal sex later.
Good for him.
I know. He really overcame that 7 times 7 years of slave sex.
Was it really bad then?
Right now, I was pleasuring Amarantha the other night.
Again. Again.
Again.
That evil bitch. I don't know. Okay. So then I found, like Sarah Janet, she loves her like little like hidden like biblical and mythological stuff. So I saw that in Greek mythology, amarantha means the amaranthan flower, which is associated with death, immortality, and longevity. So she had that like obsession with being like that high queen, fae, and like obviously evil and like killing people and
that.
all that.
Like, I mean, I don't love that, but I love that there's like that hidden.
I do. Yes. I'm one of those people that like is a geek for mythology. I think that's so fun.
I like Greek mythology too.
But then I think, Dina, you found something about Beauty and the Beast. Do you want to dive into that?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, from the moment that I started reading it, it just completely like Beauty and the Beast vibes. Mm-hmm.
Totally.
She's lives in poverty in the small little village, and there's this curse and a beast and mask, and it just like kind of just gave that whole Disney. Well, I mean, I was a Disney girl growing up, so I'm like thinking Beauty and the Beast, Disney style, right? So some of the like similarities are, okay, there's also obviously the curse, and in order to break the curse, there has to be love, right? So she has to fall in love with him, and that breaks the curse between Tamlin and with the beast. Let's see what else.
Very
Tamlin
similar
is
to
cursed
the
with a
rose.
mask. Huh?
Very similar to the rose in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the mask that Tamlin wears makes it harder for him to be like them to fall in love with him, just like it is for the beast. Like it's hard to fall in love with the beast.
Form,
so there's that similarity. She also initially fears the beast. She fears Tamlin in the beginning. She hates him. He takes her back to his place, just like in Beauty and the Beast. And then there's this deal between them where she needs to spend her life with him. At first, it's kind of like, am I a prisoner type of deal? And then she finds out that she's not really a prisoner. So she kind of starts exploring the castle. Well, in Beauty and the Beast, right?
Right.
And the grounds
like
and the spring court. Yeah. And Tamlin's like legit in beast form when she meets him too.
Right, for real.
Right, exactly.
Like literally.
Yeah. She sees him as that. So then as time goes on, they both discover that they're not actually that, horrible person, although I can kind of differ with that with Tamlin. But, they kind of like start to fall in love with them and see them for this other person. And then, we didn't even discuss too, like, he wants to know what she likes to do, and it turns out she likes to paint. So he gives her like this room and allows her to paint. He buys her paints and lets her kind of just go crazy with that, just like the beast with reading the books. He shows her the library, and
they both have like an artistic passion.
No, that's true.
Exactly. And then one of the last things was the old woman helps both of them, right?
Yeah.
So this old woman comes and Alice in ACOTAR takes her to, or gives her like the background on what was going on and takes her to where she should go for Under the Mountain. And that's kind of also part of, what's it called? East of the Sun. And what is it? East of the Sun and West of the Moon. Oh,
Our champagne just popped itself.
I'm like, this is not that kind of episode here. It's not scary.
Oh my Lord.
That was terrifying.
The cork literally
just popped open.
Popped itself. Sorry about that.
So then it likes East of the Moon, or East of the Sun, West of the Moon.
I guess it really does. I didn't know about this East of the Sun, West of the Moon. That was like the first time. And the character in it is named Tam Lin, space.
Tam Lin.
Which, she loves incorporating like old literature.
That's awesome, though.
Right. I mean, I thought it was really cool.
It's illusion. It's a literary term called illusion.
Oh, thank you for that.
You're welcome. What we didn't talk about in the first book? Did they talk about when Suriel says "Stay with the High Lord," or is that second book?
Is that the first book?
It's in the first book. Yeah.
So she is also then
stay with the High Lord, and you'll be
she's
safe.
like, okay, yeah. So I am making the right decision. So she was all like kind of pushed into loving Tamlin from what she thought was actually.
She was like, oh, stay with the High Lord.
Advice.
That means like I'm
safe.
supposed to be with Tamlin. Like
right.
Like if this
she held on to that.
If this being, this Suriel, like
knows everything,
all knowing, It's telling me to stay with the High Lord. Meanwhile, there's like fucking 7
other
High
book.
Lords.
Yeah, I feel like we talk about
No.
too much of the other books.
You're right. So what we also didn't mention is how when she first gets to the manor after he like takes her, he says to Feyre, Tamlin says to Feyre, didn't your mom ever tell you about us? Now, why like the mom? Like, and there are theories
Because
that
mom's
like,
supposed to tell stories and
guess.
teach the kids, and the dads
guess.
don't.
But there are theories that Feyre's mom has like witch blood, or maybe like a drop of Fey blood, like a Fey descendant, like from long, long, long ago. There's like a lot of different theories about that.
It would make sense because why is she so powerful to catch a Suriel to defeat all these trials? You know, it would make sense that she would have some sort
And
of
then she
ancestral.
turns high fae.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All of a sudden. Yeah.
Like, why high fae? Like, why not just regular fae?
Right.
There's also a theory that Tamlin knew Feyre's mom previously.
Yeah, because he's hundreds of years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen the theory that Tamlin got it on with Feyre's mom
No.
during,
didn't, like,
what is it?
produce any children.
What is it called?
Callan May?
Yes.
Yeet.
So what I read is that there's like a theory out there, and it said that they think that he's Elaine's father.
Ew.
Yeah.
She's so blah. And
Which would explain.
I guess he's pretty blah.
Oh, it would explain why Elaine
likes
loves
flowers.
gardening,
The flowers.
and she
And
always
spring.
feels peaceful in a garden.
Yes.
Oh, I kind of like that theory because
Right?
Do you think Papa Fay knew that though?
Maybe.
I mean, I guess how would he know? I don't know.
there is also a theory that Elaine will be the most powerful of them all.
I don't believe that.
No.
But that's getting
I
ahead
don't
of
like
ourselves.
That. I don't like that.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
There's one more thing
Yeah.
with that. So if you'll remember the 3 fae
Yeah.
that she runs into at that
Oh,
night,
yeah.
they say it's been a long time since we saw a human woman.
Oh.
So they're saying maybe the last time they saw it was Feyre's
Feyre's
mom.
mom.
You're right.
Interesting.
Right? I was like, oh, I kind of
Interesting.
like this theory. Like I could be, but then it's kind of gross if that's true, because then Feyre is wanting to get it on with her sister's father.
Father, yeah.
Yeah.
Her half sister.
I guess that's like
Her half
no
sister's
real
father.
blood anything, but it's awkward.
Yeah,
It's weird.
just a little weird. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Do we think the Suriel is male or female?
Male.
I thought it was a girl because it liked to gossip and it was like obsessed with like the fancy cloak that Feyre brought.
I don't know. I guess we shouldn't gender.
Bias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should not give a gender to the Suriel.
I mean, the serial that's on our podcast is female. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
She's badass looking.
And there are theories about the Suriel, and those theories suggest
Oh, that's
that
true.
it is the Suriel was
female.
originally a woman. We can't say anything
yeah.
because it's related to Throne of Glass.
Just to the whole series or the first book?
I don't know when this person comes
Well,
into
she
play.
shows
Not
up
the
in a
first
few.
book.
She shows up in a few books, but I don't remember
Yeah.
which one.
Okay.
She probably showed up for you already.
Yeah.
So we're not saying anything, but there are theories that she becomes the Suriel, which I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. I'd rather think that the Suriel is just a Suriel.
yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Suriel being
Suriel
just,
just
a
likes
Suriel.
to gossip.
Likes to drink the tea.
Likes to
Drink the tea
Spill
and
the
tell it how it
tea.
is.
Spill the tea.
Drinking and spilling.
Having some chicken and a fancy cloak, you know?
And a fancy cloak.
What do you think her house or his or her house looks like?
The Suriel's house?
Yeah,
I don't
like-
know, made of bones. I don't know.
Where you spend your spare time.
Oh, I wanted, because I'm such a Rasan stan.
But this isn't a book about Rhysand, so you can't talk
But
about
he
this
does
stuff.
say this, and I think it's very important,
Right.
and it brings the whole thing.
I'm just
of
saying,
why
you better not be spoiling
Tam-
this.
I'm not. This is literally
What
from
if people
book one.
just read ACOTAR,
Listen,
the
whore.
first one?
Listen, this is from book one. And so it goes to how Tamlin did nothing and Rhysand did everything. So Feyre's breaking down, right? I think it was during the Middengard Worm, the very first trial. She's like defeated,
Yes.
she's broken, she's like giving up on herself, and Rhysand like mind speaks to her And direct quote, Rhysand being the only thing keeping Feyre from coming apart in front of Amarantha, he says, do not let her see you cry. Put your hands on your sides and stand up. Stand, don't give her the satisfaction of seeing you break. Good, Rhysand told me. No tears. Wait until you're back in your cell. Count to 10. Don't look at Tamlin. Just stare at her. Good girl. Walk away. Turn on your heel. Good. Like, he like helped her. He even mind spoke to her, and I just love him so much.
Of course, we love him. He is the best. I would marry him in a second.
Book boyfriend for life, man, life. All right, what else do we have to talk about, my loves? Oh goodness gracious, I'm all over the place. All right.
No, we already did that.
We did all that. Okay, so we did do a little polly poll. And last I looked, we were like, does Tamlin deserve...
It was like 70-some%.
It went down to 67% said, yes, Tamlin does deserve a redemption arc. And listen, we're only in book 1, so maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves doing that. But most people who are listening to this have read all the books, or at least the first one. And so 67% said yes, he does deserve a redemption arc. So
whatever. If it gives us more books to read by her, I'm fine with that.
I mean, I would like to see his perspective and like what was going through his mind at certain parts, but yeah. I mean, I did answer yes to that question.
Okay. Would we like to say similar to a 5-star rating, because we're sips with a cereal, we're going to give it a goblet rating, goblet. So would you like to say what we gave this book?
We all gave it a 4, and I think we all agreed that most of the way through it was not a 4.
Yeah.
It was a 3. And it wasn't until probably the trials that we were just like, okay, shit's picking up. Now it's good.
Yeah.
And you'll read, if you haven't read all of her books yet, that the last 100 pages of her books are always the most intense. That's where all the juice is. So when that hit, then it was...
It's
a
emotional.
page turner.
You can't stop.
It's emotional turmoil. The last 100
it is.
pages.
Every feeling you could feel happens.
You're like crying. You're also laughing. You're feeling love. You're crying.
You're
again.
anxious.
So anxious all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a 3 goblet rating for me until the trials. I was like, this is kind of slow.
I was just pushing through because everybody said it was so good. I was where is it? Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Dina, what about you? You think the same?
I did. I didn't think it was super slow. I actually was really intrigued, and I kind of know, I guess because I had read like the Throne of Glass stuff, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's gonna, and that's kind of how it is. I think for like starting any fantasy book, it starts off slow because they're trying to introduce you to all these characters and this whole new world and like what's going on and how this and this and the back and the history, right? So you have to really get into that. So I think any beginner fantasy book is going to be kind of slow.
Right.
But I agree. I think overall it was 4 stars, and those last 100 pages, I mean, yeah.
Shoot.
They did it. They made me want to continue on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It made me pick the next book right up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. A lot of world building, but you have, like you said, you have to do the world building.
You need the backstory.
Yep. Very true. Very true.
All right.
So our next episode will be book 2, which is my personal favorite.
No, my personal favorite.
No, mine. Like one of my, I would say like my one of my top 5 favorite books of all time is A Court of Mist and Fury. It's so good. So good.
Graphic audio necessary.
Very.
Necessary.
You can skip graphic audio for book 1, but go if you haven't done it yet, people out there.
Rhysand's voice is fire.
Do yourself a favor if you love yourself, go listen to the love scenes and everything.
Right. To hear his words, they're just so beautiful.
Man. Yeah. So that voice actor right now, I read the book Quicksilver, but then when I found out he was doing the audio narration for Quicksilver, I pre-ordered it on Audible, and I'm going on Audible so slowly through it because I'm savoring his voice and listening to him.
You're so nuts.
I am nuts. Listen, I can admit I have a big problem. Whatever we want to say.
It's okay.
I don't care.
We love you for it.
I don't care. I like my books.
All right.
That's pretty much it, guys.
Thanks for hanging with
Wow.
us. This was our first episode. And
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't, it was smooth-ish.
yeah, we weren't too tangent.
That's what you wanted to hear.
Hopefully you liked us, and feel free to give us some constructive criticism. If we rambled too much, we're open to hear it.
And
Yeah, like what do you want to hear more of? More theories, more,
very true. Very true.
what do you want to hear?
So I would just like to say, we will be doing fantasy books, but we are going to be doing regular books too. Like
We have some Colleen Hoover books sprinkled in. And
Thrillers, yeah.
thrillers. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we do have to start with our beloved, beloved Akatar.
Only so we can talk about Resand.
I want to say our beloved Rasan,
because
but
we really miss him.
I really just want him to be real. Could you imagine how many people would be fighting over him in real life if he was real?
No, for real.
That guy would never get rest. All right, everybody, keep reading to whatever end, if you know what that's from.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.